this reading, find what it's meant for at the right time. Okay, do this first. Thank you, angels. Thank you for your guides. Protection. Anticipation. Okay. So anticipation, and then they're protecting an egg, a nest. So something about protecting your home or taking care of a pregnancy. High-risk pregnancy is coming into mind. Flowers could be significant. Poppies. Honeybees. Perspective. Community. God, every single one of these cards except anticipation has poppies on it. Community. Community's a good card. Building a new community around your child. Preparation. I've been getting a lot of pregnancy readings. Whether they be positive or negative, but there's a lot of pregnancy readings. And observation. And then upheaval. Okay, yeah, so I'm sensing a high-risk pregnancy. I don't know if this is an older person, late 30s and their 40s, or there's just medical complications, so it's been dubbed a high-risk pregnancy. Okay. Observation. Stress tests. No stress tests for the baby. Constant monitoring. Okay, I'm like, I don't... So this is for somebody who's going through a complicated pregnancy. Right, very specific. So either this applies to you or someone you know. Or take this one a grain of salt. Or it's with anticipation. Maybe it's something that's going to happen. But I get the feeling that this person knows that they're pregnant. They've been going through it already. They've been in and out of the OB and ultrasound clinics. Knight of Pentacles. Okay. So things are looking good. So I had a high-risk pregnancy. I had a lot of complications. The World and the King of Pentacles. So you're going to start a new life. A beautiful life. If you were worried about this child coming, they're not, or whatever, they're coming. This child, new beginnings, okay? Your old life, when this child comes, trust me, if you're a first-time mom, your old life is over. You are in a new phase. A Four of Swords. Something about this Four of Swords. Also, I don't remember right now at the time of recording this at this very moment what it is, because I use a different tarot card more regularly. Rest, recuperation, healing, contemplation. Okay, don't work yourself too hard. Don't get stressed too hard. Don't just visualize you holding your baby and focus on that. Don't pay any, obviously pay attention to what the medical reports say and all of those things. Sorry, I'm so excited for you. Two of Cups. This doesn't necessarily need to be like lovers. But the little house in the background is calling me really strong. So I'm sensing support. You have a supportive partner in this relationship. I'm so glad this was a good reading. But crows always come out when there's like shady-ish going on. And there is in a sense, but things are looking bright, okay? This is a message of positive outlook for what's to come. Change my deck. Oh, I'm so excited. I get so happy with all these pregnancy readings. I don't know why. You are not alone. You are not alone in the physical 3D. You have support with your significant other. You have community, your family, your chosen family, if that's what the circumstances are. And your spirit guides, your angels, your ancestors are not only watching over you, but watching over that little bundle inside you. Okay? And okay, sorry. I just heard we got this. We're watching him. Is it a boy? Are you having a boy? And I know nowadays some people don't like to assign genders and all of that stuff, but biologically, are they a boy? Like, oh, that's so beautiful. More, yeah, more. More messages from your guides. They're happy for you. They're excited. This is a blessed union. This is a blessed household. You're making the right choices. I just heard you're making the right choices. Be the light. Be the light in your own life. Be the light at the end of your tunnel. Just, I don't know, this little owl is giving like baby vibes right now to me. I don't know. Oh, okay, it's because I used to read a book when I was really young about some barn owls and some baby barn owls, and they were this type of owl. So, yeah. I'm getting, okay, I guess we're using this guy. So, the main concern here is about the baby's health. So the baby's coming. What's the condition we're in? Heaven and earth, misplaced loyalties, wisdom. Okay, Source, what's up with this wisdom in the reverse? Essential in the reverse usually means misplaced loyalties. Heaven and earth represents an imbalance. Okay, don't start. Breathe. Reel it in, okay? I myself have a medically complex kid. It's not an easy life. Like I said, this is going to be the beginning of a whole new chapter, a whole new life for you. But, you know, he's thriving, he's happy. Things will be different for him, but, and I'm just saying this as, I don't know, I guess I'm trying to help comfort you in some way, because these cards are coming in the reverse so far. Doesn't mean anything is the situation with your child. And perhaps you've seen in all of these ultrasounds and stress tests that everything, okay, I see what's going on. that everything was fine. Right? You've been under a lot of observation for your kid, and so far, every time they take a look at him, everything looks to be great. There's just other physical concerns with you during this pregnancy, right? Wisdom in the reverse. Okay. Yeah, this is why I was guided to read this. If this starts to feel too heavy, you don't have to watch this. You don't have to finish this. You can come back to it later. You don't have to finish this at all. Okay? If you're not ready to listen at this moment. But the potential blockage for wisdom in the reverse is we all have a side to our nature that is not pretty or kind, depending on one's perspective and point of view. We are guilty of judging others, of being critical, of being selfish, and putting our own needs before the needs of others. We all possess the ability to be unkind, intolerant, and close-minded. We all have had moments when we all have been both dogmatic and bombastic. The wisdom card in reverse asks you to accept these moments and understand their necessity, or the loving necessity of shadowy aspects of your nature. Otherwise, you will only see part of the lesson being offered. You will see minor details instead of the whole, and the whole is that if you stand in the light, you will cast a shadow. Without this recognition, you will find the journey toward wisdom a long and arduous one. Therefore, look to this reversal as presenting you with the opportunity to look within yourself and question what you fear, question what you hate, question what you condemn in others, and deny or condemn within yourself. The darker aspects of your nature can often be greatest teachers, and while the truths revealed may sometimes be harsh and uncomfortable, they bring with them the power to heal and empower. Use this time to get to know those aspects of your nature that you may pretend not to have noticed, and see them in the light. Know them, learn from them, see them change and become beautiful as your perspective shifts. They are all part of the divine and human being that is you. Okay, so no shade, no shame for whatever biases you may or may not have over disabilities or judgments of or beliefs of things that we hold on to, things that we think should be man, I'm gonna have to come on camera for this one. I'm gonna have to come on camera for this one. For the rest, sweetie, it's going to be okay. There is a whole new community. Like, if I need to spell it out, I'll spell it out. I have to do this on camera. Okay, so somebody woke up right on cue. Okay, what was I saying? Community. And hi. You can call me Naraya. My actual name means the same thing, but it's a little more difficult to pronounce. You're not alone. You're not alone in spirit. You're not alone in community. You are not and will not be alone in your household. This isn't something that's going to permanently break your household. there may be rifts, and I'm speaking from experience, but that doesn't mean that the relationship's going to be over and that it's all just going to be grief. All right, there is a beautiful life coming for you, and I want to pull a few more cards. But after that wisdom reading from the book, from the blockages, it really does feel like we do have some complications coming up, even though they haven't been seen in any ultrasounds. And this is why I wanted to come on camera, because that happened to me. I actually had a sterilizing procedure, and then 6 weeks later, I found out I was 6 weeks pregnant. They say that the little man snuck in approximately 48 hours before the procedure, and they tested me. They did a pregnancy test, urine test, blood test, all these things the day of the procedure to make sure that everything was okay. And, it didn't register. They didn't see that there. I found out in the emergency room after throwing up so much. I thought the medication was making me sick. I was on all kinds of medication. I was smoking a lot of green, a lot of tree, there was a lot of things that I was doing to help recover from the pain from the procedure I had. And it was a procedure done around my uterus. Part of the procedure was not just the sterilizing part, but with radio frequency, with radiation, zapped the outside of my uterus to try to kill off some tumors. And then I found out I was pregnant after thinking I wasn't suited for motherhood. I'm trying to keep this as short as possible. So if I seem to be stuck on my words, I'm just trying to use the right words without going around in circles. And then throughout the whole pregnancy, it was just complication after complication with me. Every scan, every ultrasound, every no stress test was normal. Everything for him pointed to a normal, healthy baby. And he's mostly a normal, healthy baby. But in terms of what we imagine our children being, I accepted I was pregnant. At one point I was thinking about termination and obviously didn't go through with that. But again, I didn't know. The whole pregnancy, everything that happened to me, I bled the entire second trimester. I can't even count how many times I was in the emergency room, how many tests, and then because of the nature of the pregnancy and my procedure, it was a high-risk pregnancy from the get-go, even though I was 29 when I found out I was pregnant. But nothing ever prepared us for what was actually going on. So my son has a rare neurological disorder that the doctors, I asked, I told them about the surgery, and all the stuff, all the substances, all the medications. And I asked them, one of the NICU doctors told us, he's like, there is nothing you could have done for this to have happened. And sometimes to this day, I still get all in my head about it, as you see. But the fact is that the nature of his condition is either you can only have what he has via it being genetic, or the mother being exposed to a specific virus that I was not exposed to, or a luck of the draw. It's just random. They need more studies, more testing, more genetic testing. But they assure me that It wasn't because of anything I did during pregnancy. And, sometimes that's the case. Sometimes that's what happens. But because of insurance, along with the nature of his condition, but mainly because of insurance, he had an extended NICU stay, almost 4 months. Like I said, it was mainly because of insurance. He was probably ready to go home after 2 months. He was not premature. He was full term. That's the other thing. He was full term. Everyone that meets him, when was he premature? No, he was not premature. He has a neurological disorder that makes it difficult for him to control certain muscles in his face and his neck and throat and other muscles in his body, but mainly this area. So it's difficult for him to swallow. He did not swallow for like the first 4 to 6 months. And he's constantly aspirating on his own saliva. So he has... Can you say hi? Yeah, can you say hi? He has a tracheostomy, and that's where he breathes through. And he's starting to get tastes of food by mouth and purees and stuff. But sometimes if they're too thin, it becomes a problem. But enough about me. Hi. Yeah, he's so happy. And I'm so glad he woke up just before I recorded this, because I know the struggle, and there is a whole community of, mind you, the Down syndrome community is so tight, and, they point each other out because it's a very visible disability. Okay? What he has is called bilateral perisylvian polymicrogyra. So the bilateral perisylvian part just explains what type of polymicrogyra he has. And there's a whole online community of people that I've encountered worldwide, for other parents that have the same condition as him, and even adults that found out as adults, or that, grew up with it knowing and now are adults thriving. And, every case is different. It's definitely a spectrum disorder in our case. And I don't claim to know anything about your situation. And I want to say I could be completely wrong about this reading, but I never have been. And that, ego speaks. Take everything with a grain of salt, discernment. You don't like what you're hearing, shut it off. But the reason I wanted to come on camera is to let you know that you're not alone. And not just in the, spiritual sense, in the, household relationship sense, your family, your, what do they call it? Your support groups, support systems. Apart from all of those things, you're not alone in those aspects. You are not alone. You are not the only parent in this situation. There's very few parents in the world that have I have a child and they're the only one with this diagnosis in the world known of. That exists. I have discovered a whole new world of ways of thinking, of reevaluating the way the world is set up, the way society is set up, the way we think of things, the way we criticize and judge others. Having my son has been a spiritual awakening for both me and his father. His father had a coworker that's, late 20s, early 30s, but he has dentures because of drugs or whatever, and he speaks not clearly. Some people don't have the patience for that, and I'm using that as an example because that may very, very well be how he sounds. And
I remember early on, I would tell him, like, no, don't make fun of him because you never know, like, what he could grow up to be. And, he wouldn't pay attention early on. But literally, this past week, he brought that same example up to me. And how he's just been thinking and how other nonverbal cases have come across his socials and how he's like, I really have to change my way of thinking because, I don't want people to treat Avery the way I have behaved towards others. And that was very profound coming from him. Be the light. Be your own light. Be the light for your kid. They will be the light for you. Trust me, you might think, oh, I don't know if I can do this. This is going to be so, I don't know. Just so many, I don't know. Trust me, you will know. You will know. Maternal instinct is a real thing. This kid doesn't want me to speak so loud. You will know. You will know what to do. It'll come to you. Even if you think, oh, it's not coming to me, I don't know. There'll come a day where you're the only one that can figure out what's wrong with your kid, even if it's a medical complexity. And you're not alone. You're not alone. And if at any point after your child is born, you feel like you need a second opinion of anything, you want to change hospitals, you want to change providers, at any point, do it. Do it. I've done it multiple times. We actually just changed most of his providers recently, and he spent 6 weeks at one NICU before I had him transferred to a hospital in a different city. And I'm not saying you have to transfer them to a different city. Sometimes there's a hospital nearby, but for us, it was best to go I'm in Tucson, Arizona, from Tucson to Phoenix, because they have like one of the highest ranked children's hospitals in the state. They have in the country. They have the highest ranked children's hospital in the state. Why wouldn't I? It's 2 hours away. I grew up driving 2 hours to Mexico for the summers. Like, it's nothing. Don't let any providers intimidate you and treat you like you don't know. There's a big difference between the hospital here and the hospital in Phoenix. In Phoenix, they always tell us that you know your child best. And we do. We truly do. And in certain places with certain physicians here in Tucson, they treat me like I don't know what I'm doing, like I don't know what I'm talking about, and like his disorder, on paper, his disorder says that he should be a vegetable, a vegetative case. He walks. He struggles with jumping and going up the stairs on his own because of his low muscle tone. But he's walking, okay? Keep your faith strong. I know this is going to be a long one, but I really feel like I had to be with you for this one. And so did he. Yeah, so did he. So I want to pull a couple more positive messages for you, encouraging messages. Tarot. Alright, give me a second while I look through the book. Oh, where's the book? Where did Mommy put the book? Oh, it's back here. Okay. Air. 5 of air. And Mommy's reading a little bit. 5 of air. Okay, 5 of air, 10 of fire, yeah, 10 of fire in the reverse, and 4 of air. Okay, so 10 of fire in the reverse appears for 2 purposes. The first is to remind you that a master is only a master of self and the tools he wields. He is a master of no other. Therefore, be careful not to extend your desire to control of others, nor expect them to be disciplined. These kids aren't raised the same way as other kids. Sometimes that needs to be stated to some parents, that you can't discipline these kids the same way you can discipline other kids. And if there's intellectual delays involved, you can't always just scare them into your way of doing things. The second reason for its appearance is to tell you to remove the words "I cannot" from your vocabulary and monitor your inner dialogue for defeatist or pessimist beliefs. You will not succeed if you believe you will fail before you have even tried. Instead, do what you set your mind, body, and spirit on doing. And you will succeed even when you fail, because failures offer knowledge. Use that knowledge to determine if you should embrace a different or less conventional or rigid way of working. Yeah, I think that's a very good message for this reading. 4 of air. Structure, routine, orders, discipline, organization, understanding. You should be guided, and if you're not, asked to see the case manager, the nurse case manager for your child. Because these people can help you organize. They can help you, especially if you move from one hospital to another one, but you're going to go back to see your regular providers at the original hospital. These people help with all of that structure, all of the pushing of the paperwork and insurance. A social worker, make sure you're in touch with a social worker at the hospital, especially if this child does have any disabilities. Do not leave the hospital without the proper insurances. Okay, do not leave the hospital without disability insurance and long-term care insurance. Medicaid, whatever, if you apply, you apply. If you don't, you don't. Disability and long-term insurances. Do not leave the hospital without those. It is crucial. Eventually, this will become second nature for you. And yeah. Like, I'm not sure how many other readers this reading could have come to actually understand the situation here. Remove negative influences, weed out bad habits. Create structure in your day. And then the last card on this one was the 5 of air. A conflict between reality and belief, a time for honesty, let go of illusions and pretense. Face a painful reality, you are not alone. I don't know if this is in focus, but it says right there, you are not alone. Advice and constructive criticism are not a personal attack. Forgive others for wearing a mask. If it is a visible disability, you'll get double takes. And people can think what they want. That's none of your business. That's their own issues that they have to work with. The Five of Air represents a conflict between what's real and what is believed. It addresses a need for honesty and the courage to let go of self-deception that is being held onto in order to hide and protect from a painful reality. You might already know. Like, this might have been something that you knew already, or you had the gut feeling, or they have prepared you in a sense that something might not be typical. And this is your reality check. This painful reality may be one that we choose to deny, but even so, its influence can still create dissonance in our lives and work in a corrosive manner that gives rise to conflicted thoughts, a desire to avoid and procrastinate, and eventually self-sabotage our creative endeavors. It can also manifest in a desire to withdraw and separate ourselves from those who love us. Okay? Postpartum is a real thing, whether our children are typical or not. So take care of yourself, and it's gonna be okay. They're gonna live. That's evident. They are protected by your spirit guides, by your angels, by your loved ones on the other side. They are not alone. You are not alone, okay? So look within yourself. Look within yourself. Look for spirit. Call on your angels. Prayer, gratitudes. Find your community. You will find a new community, and your significant other is going to be there. And like I said, of speaking from personal experience, it's not going to be easy at first, especially if this is your first child. Yeah. But it'll become second nature, and you two are the only people that will fully understand each other and what you're going through. You're not alone. You're not alone in spirit. You're not alone physically. You're not alone in experience. Okay? Every case is individual. But you're not alone. Okay? You are loved. Okay? If you haven't heard that today, I love you. Okay, I think that's everything. Thank you.